Hello, Blizzard fans! This is FalconPaladin coming to you with yet another daily Blizzard upload. This is a game between Forsaken and Walnut on Orbital Shipyard. This is a PvZ, which is my favorite matchup. I hope you're not sick of it, because I never get sick of it. In the top right of Orbital Shipyard, we have the red Zerg player. It is Forsaken. And in the bottom left of Orbital Shipyard, we have the blue Protoss player. It is Walnut. So again, Orbital Shipyard, a pretty standard map here. Most people choose to take the expansion back here where it's very safe, right around here. But at the same time, you can take this one up here, which does have two ramps leading into it, which most people don't like, but kind of easier to hold your ramp than try to defend drops over here when compared to defending drops here and here possibly. So that makes sense why some players do choose to take this base instead for their second. Either way, we are going to go ahead and go for a 15 hatch, it looks like here for Forsaken, or rather a 17 hatch. There it is, in a very safe location. 17 hatch coming up for the Zerg player, and do we have any gas being taken? Are we making more workers is the question. No, I think we're going to go ahead and save up for a spawning pool here, and then go for the gas. You can't be too greedy against Protoss. There goes the spawning pool. Excellent play. Are we going to get gas is the question, though. Extractors are good against Protoss. You really need that gas. But no, actually might go for a scout. There's a scout. We'll watch for that gas. It's going to happen. Meanwhile, Walnut choosing not to wall off, going for that cyber core with the single gas, which tells me we are going to see some adept play from him, more than likely. And still no extractors. All right, there's a base popping up for Walnut at the same time. Going to be very, very safe back here as well. So Overlord scouting, drone scouting. I do like to see the drone scouts. Playing blind is just too scary for me. Not a huge fan of doing that, but a lot of players do, and they manage to win anyway. So I don't know what that means. If that means that I'm just bad, even though I scout and lose, but that's entirely possible. Here we come, drones scouting things out. Going to say, all right, double assimilator here. We are chrono boosting the warp gate research, which means we're planning on being aggressive. And adept most likely is being boosted out of that gateway at this very minute. Going to check for the second base as well, and now Forsaken has a complete read on exactly what Walnut is doing. So excellent play there by him. Queens popping up. Two queens. Yes, two queens, each of the naturals. We finally do have that extractor that I was talking about earlier. So pretty standard PvZ so far. Nothing too crazy to report, but Walnut does send in amazing replays. Replays in which he wins and loses. So the last one that I cast of Walnuts, he did lose the game. So please don't see this and say, oh, it's Walnut. He always wins these games, because he doesn't. So there's no spoilers here. Trust me on that one. Mothership core pops on out there. More gateways, a forge coming up as well for Walnut. And there's the Roach Warren. Roaches again. A good answer for adepts. I don't want to say it's a great answer, though. I've just seen too many straight up like Roach here, line of Roaches here, a line of adepts here, shooting each other, acid saliva and like energy balls, and it's pretty much a standoff. The Roaches do not take down the adepts as quickly as you would think. Their DPS just isn't high enough. And same thing for the adepts. Their DPS is not high enough to take out the Roaches, so it takes forever for them to die. By the end of the match, it's pretty much just been a war of attrition. Both teams have lost a lot of units, and that's it. So I don't know what to tell you there. I thought Roaches were a good answer, but perhaps Speedlings are better. But here Forsaken is under the impression that it's going to be something where he needs Roaches to deal with these adepts. Being pretty defensive, though, is Walnut hanging out at the top of the ramp. An adept, a stalker, and a sentry walked into a bar, and I'm sure there's a joke that starts out some way like that, but I don't know the end of it. So two bases right now, not choosing to take a third base quite yet is our Zerg player. I'm not sure if he doesn't feel safe, or he's actually down on worker count as well. A couple of slow links come in and say, is there a third base? Please tell me there's not a third base. And there's not a third base. Are we going to get up into the main? Heavens no. So much DPS. Both the Zerglings die right on top of these plates. It looks like a Zergling barbecue on there. Disgusting. All right. Overlord scouting in as well. Man, Forsaken is super devoted to this whole scouting concept. I love it. Says, are we taking the gas out the natural? And the answer is yes. He's going to see the timing on the gas being taken at the natural, which usually means we're going to see a small attack like this, and then we're going to see some pretty big teching up from Walnut, possibly to Disruptors, because Disruptors are really good against Zerg, or possibly, you know, Carriers. Why not? We've seen a lot of Protoss go Carrier on my channel recently, because it's pretty good in Legacy of the Void. Roaches against a single Stalker. The Stalker does push back, and here comes the Adept army. Mostly Adepts, a couple Sentries, and a Stalker. Again, you can really warp home with the Mothership core. Nothing super to worry about. At this point, more and more roaches being made, though. Forsaken reacting to this with 6 roaches in production, glial reconstitution, and hydrogen, and his third base coming up. So he's playing this fairly well, but again, he is down in worker count, but just barely. I really don't know. And what is this? Again, another Overlord Scout. Does he see the Robo Facility? Yes, he does see the Robo Facility. So there's a Warp Prism being researched there, possibly for some special tactics, White Raw style. Walnut does like his Warp Prisms. We'll have to see to what effect they are used. Creep tumors being thrown on down. Not the best creep spread I've ever seen at this point, but that is okay. 36 harvesters to 42 total. We are so scared of this. Here we come. Roaches getting on top of everything. These guys are stuck, and there's the recall. I think they got a sentry, though. Is that what they got? Yep, sentry stalker have been killed. And there's the recall backing on home again. Protoss not super happy about that attack, but again, what that attack did is it forced the Zerg player to use the larva that he'd rather use on drones and use it on roaches. So now here are these roaches. They can't mine minerals at all for the Zerg player. Forsaken cannot get any income from them. They're defending, I guess, but that's about it. Overseer, again, with a perfect scout, sees the Twilight Council blinking. And yep, it's the Adept Shield upgrade. Increases the Adept Shields by 50. So they start out with 90 shields. And then they get 50, so they get 140. So that's what the upgrade is. Oh, a changeling. A changeling got sneaked into this army composition, but it's a zealot. Who makes zealots anymore, silly overseer? Why wouldn't you make an adept or something more likely to be missed by the Protoss player? But Walnut is really none the wiser right now. I'm not sure what that is. Here comes the Warp Prism moving on in to this base. There is a Spine Crawler and a Queen. I don't know if that's super ideal for these 3 adepts. And yeah, the Warp Prism decides to back on out, though. The roaches are looking to be possibly aggressive. Probably on a queen there as well, Forsaken. That'd be really nice if you had a queen. Macro hatch here, though. And we are actually researching the muscular augments, giving the Hydralisks extra speed off creep and attack range by 1. Are we going to catch that Warp Prism? No, we're not, because it is quick. Warp Prisms are fast. They can warp stuff in. They're tanky. They're a really good unit for the Protoss army. I'm surprised we don't see more of it in Protoss composition replays. But here we are, both players just playing a little bit defensively. Roach is hanging out on the creep. Roach Hydra maybe moving out across the map here. And this kind of Immortal, Stalker, Adept type army hanging out as well. See, no Zealots. That Zealot was sneaky, but not sneaky enough. Third base is now up for Walnut. He is at 56, nope, 53 Harvesters. Forsaken is actually taking the lead on that count. And here we come. Roach is going to try to come up this ramp. I don't know if this is a good idea. There's the force field trying to catch him, but no. They back on out, though. You only have 4 Hydras, Forsaken. You are super brave, man. I don't know about this, but the Warp Prism moving right on in, trying to find an optimal place to attack, but the Spine Crawler just finished. And, yep, moving to the relative safety. Are we going to take out the Hydralisk then? I don't know what. The entire army for Forsaken moves back to deal with this harassment, but there's a Spore Crawler. I like that. Spore Crawler and a Spine Crawler. Harassment does pretty much nothing. That's how you prepare for that sort of a thing if you're a Zerg player. I love it so much. Getting an Observer there? Yes, Observer dies as well. 4th base popping up. A little bit of a sneaky 4th base. Usually players will take this 4th. They'll knock down these rocks and take the 4th over here, but instead it looks like we're doing it over here. A little bit farther away, but more difficult to scout, I think, for Walnut. So that might actually stay up a little bit longer, be more safe than taking a base over here, especially because the Warp Prism is kind of scouting this area out. This is the smallest Roach Hydra composition I've ever seen. How brave are you, Forsaken? You are super duper brave. Are you just trying to keep pressure on your R-teching to an infestation pit? Possibly you want a hive. You're getting missile attacks level 2, tunneling claws. Are you going burrow micro? You will get destroyed. There's a disruptor in this army now too. Do not go up that ramp, Forsaken. I am pleading with you. Don't go up that ramp. Why are you... No, don't stand and fight. Oh, disruptor shot. Oh, misses. Actually does some friendly fire there. That is the problem with the disruptor shot. It actually does hurt friendly units. It doesn't hurt friendly disruptors, I don't think. I did read that earlier. The micro here, pretty good from Forsaken. He's not really committing, but he's kind of keeping the Protoss army on its toes right now, and might get chased down by these charge lots, though. More and more shots. Another Roach ends up dead. Roach Hydra trying to get onto that creep. Where's that? That extra speed bonus. Warp Prism dropping units as well. There's a big push right now from Vampy and warping in more and more Stalkers. This looks pretty intimidating indeed. The Roach Hydra composition, I don't think it's enough for Forsaken. Taking down creep tumors. This creep queen getting put into a corner and then burrowing. Oh no, the Observer comes in though and she ends up dead anyway. Blarp. Roach Hydra can't decide where to set up. Do we go at the top of the ramp? producing more roaches and more hydras. Missile attack level 2 on the way. That's going to be very useful. But as is usually the case, I think this is going to come down to the disruptor hits. If those hit against these roaches and hydras, it's going to be huge. Ravagers, why Ravagers? Get lurkers, man. Lurkers are the way to go, Forsaken. But regardless, creep tumors are getting killed again. This creep is going to recede super quick. And disruptor shot, kind of whiffs. I think he got 2 roaches and a hydra. But that's about it. Zooming out to see everything that's going on. Another disruptor shot takes out more and more hydras. Corrosive bile being thrown down. Disruptor in the front gets taken out. The hydra's doing a lot better than I thought here. Ravagers as well. Force fields, time warp being thrown down at the same time. Corrosive bile actually getting some hits off. Disruptor again gets taken down. Walnut's control a little bit sloppy there. And both disruptors are gone. Now the Roach Hydra Ravager is a little bit more impressive. There's still an Immortal though. But at the front lines, the Hydras take it down. Corrosive Bile doing a lot better than I ever thought it would. Hydras sniping down from the right side and the left side. Who's going to win this battle? I really don't know at this point. All the Adepts are dying. The DPS a little bit too high from these Roaches and these Hydralisks. Are we going to take down the Warp Prism? Yes, the Hydras focus down the Warp Prism. Zealots come in to clean them up though. And I'm not sure what Walnut wants to try and do. This Roach taking out a pylon at the same time. Walnut does not want to attack any further. Not feeling very happy about it, but finding this base makes him happy. Comes right on in. This hatchery is not long for this space station, or wherever we are, space platform. Focusing down this particular hatchery. All the workers burrow. I love that move from Zerg. Are we going to try to trap him inside? We are. Roach Hydra taking down 2 of the Stalkers immediately. Broodlings doing damage as well. Another Stalker ends up dead. Is their army over here is the question. These Zealots want to get home. Not going to happen. They're not even attack moving. All of them end up dead. That guy as well gets picked up by these Hydralisks. Excellent play here by Forsaken. But Walnut sniping off that base was a big deal. And another base coming up as well for Forsaken. So Walnut hasn't been able to take a 4th base. Surprisingly, I think he's wanted to, but maybe the Roach down here was enough to deter him. Taking out, oh, look at this. I think I talked in an earlier replay about how nobody ever really takes down this debris to get up on the high ground. And since then, I think both of the casts I've had on Orbital Shipyard, that has happened. So apparently I can predict the anti-future, or I can say something that's going to happen by saying it's not going to happen, if that makes any sense at all. Another bunch of debris explodes. Pieces of pebbles raining down onto the ground. How are we doing on upgrades? +2, +1. Okay, +3, +1. Yoo-hoo! Walnut doing a great job on the upgrades here. +3 here at the 12-minute mark. Again, moves faster on Legacy of the Void. More Immortals coming in at the same time. Is that another Immortal? Nope, that's a Disruptor. So that's good stuff. Disruptor, Immortal, sniping down. I think that was a burrowed Roach down there, or maybe just a regular Roach that ends up dead. The army's on this side. The Zerg army is coming up from the left side. Are we going to actually get some damage here? Taking out a cannon, trying to get that Disruptor. That's what they want to kill. And yes, the Disruptor does end up dead. Photon Overcharge going down on that pylon. Does it get sniped down? Gets the Mothership core, though. I think that's what Forsaken wanted. And a good setup here. Ooh, Disruptor. Actually, I think the force fields helped the Zerg player there. Kind of did a split for the Zerg he wasn't prepared to do, and the Disruptor mostly whiffed, so that was interesting. Kind of got pushed to the side there by those force fields, and that was it. And still no queen at this base, or at that macro hatch, or at this macro hatch. Where the heck are your queens, dude? Spinecrawler. Queen here, she's injecting. That's nice, but Forsaken should be maxed out at this point. I really think he should be. He's at 171 supply out of 142. And he has a pretty good composition. This Roach Hydra Viper is pretty good stuff. We are getting +3, +3. And chitinous plating. Oh, are we going Ultralisks? We are. Ultralisks on the way. Archon's on the way as well for Walnut. So we're going to see some tier 3 battles here. To be sure, the Vipers are going to play an important part. Could we see a yoink where we yoink the Disruptor out of this army and then focus it down before it can use its ability to its Purification Nova? Is that still what it's called? Yep, Purification Nova. We're going to try to kill this base, though. Walnut very interested in making sure this base does not survive. Are we going to burrow again is the question. Are they going to get trapped once again? Oh, Archon, no! Boom, Archon ends up dead there. Disruption shot. Oh, kills a couple of the Hydras. Another Disruptor, though, very, very dangerously. Coming on through, does end up dead as well. Force fields being thrown down. Another Disruptor dies. Another Disruptor dies. Oh, the disruption. That Immortal uses the barrier, ends up dead as well. Roaches and Hydras kind of stuck behind the force fields, but now they're out for revenge. They're going to chase this army down. This poor Immortal barrier ability is on cooldown, can't be used. It's going to die. This Archon getting stuck a little bit on the pathing Getting the Vipers would be nice for Walnut. Gets both of them. Very nice for him. Another Adept ends up dead. Walnut taking the roundabout retreat path here. More Zealots warping on in, trying to deal with this. Now we're going to stand and fight. Roach's Hydras want to back up to the creep to actually battle here. Are the Zealots actually going to die? They slowly do evaporate, but Roaches and Hydras are getting killed and exploded left and right. Reinforcements come in. A Disruptor all on its own, chilling at the top of this ramp. Another Disruptor comes in, ends up killed. It is on move command. I think it was on rally. I don't know what that was. A lot of Disruptors have died, man. Look at this. 7 Disruptors have died. I think that's the most I've ever seen in a Legacy of the Void game. Again, fairly good angle here from Forsaken. Oh, sniping off a Templar. Excellent. Exactly what you want to do. Getting additional gateways here might be nice. At the same time, standing and fighting, the Archons explode. Disruptor shot from behind takes out a bunch of the Hydralisks. Disruptor is still alive, but now we're getting focused by the Hydras. And it dies. Moment of silence for that guy there. Hydra is doing great against the gateway composition. Now coming in to take out this cannon. It explodes. Templar as well. Walnut throwing out the Wowzer totally isn't OP. And I like how you erase macros itself. It is true. The auto injects are a problem, but man, look at this. There are no queens. I don't know how on earth Forsaken did this with, honestly, 3 queens on the map at this point. But yeah, a little bit of rage here from Walnut, and he leaves the game. Forsaken is victorious. Walnut has left pretty much a Roach Hydra composition here. I mean, again, the queen count was low. The macro wasn't as good as it could have been for Forsaken. I think the big problem for Walnut was losing as many Disruptors as he did. How many is it? 8. 8 Disruptors, 7 Immortals, 5 Archons. Just kind of placing Disruptors at the front of the army, rallying them past groups of units that killed them as well. Just kind of difficult to do that and still win. A few Disruptor shots here on the remainder of these Hydras and these Roaches would have been enough to actually probably turn the tide in most of these battles and get a win. But in the end, Zerg is victorious in this replay. So thanks again for sending that in, Walnut. I will cast one of your wins here eventually, I'm fairly certain. So this has been FalconPaladin with yet another Daily Blizzard upload. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, all at /FalconPaladin. And until next time, as always, you take care of yourself.